Welcome back to the Sioux City Show. My name is Taylor Grote. I'm hosting this thing. In the studio with me today, I have Jessica Hammond, a.k.a. Brutal Doodles on Instagram. That's brutal.doodles. And Jessica, go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit.
Well, my name is Jessica, as you have already stated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an artist from Sioux City, and I like painting walls.
Yep. And so, like, I guess, from my perspective, I've seen a lot of new murals downtown in the last year or 2 years, and I've noticed a trend that it's always at Brutal Doodles who is the artist behind it. So I just wanted to get you in here and kind of talk about what you're doing to beautify Sioux City, where you're doing it at, and really how you're doing that.
Cool.
Yeah. So I guess I know that you are somebody who's painted the towers at Grandview, and as far as I understand it, you're currently working on a documentary about the towers at Grandview. How did that all kind of come to be?
Well, it's funny actually how it came to be, because the original reason I went up there was because I wanted to practice my spray painting.
Mm-hmm.
And so like for the past few weeks, I've been thinking about going out in my backyard and getting a piece of plywood and spray painting. Yep. Just to get better at it.
Like a rebellious 14-year-old out there.
Yeah.
Letting your parents know that next step is the garage.
Yes. Yeah. It's getting serious. But I was talking to my friend Britton on the phone, and he was like, you should get up and paint those towers before, they're going to knock the water towers down at Grandview Park and build a new one or whatever. So I was like, you know what? That sounds like a more fun way to practice my spray painting. So me and a couple buddies went up there one day, and we just painted, and it was fun. And it got a lot of attention from a lot of different people.
Good attention, bad attention?
Good attention. People were like, thank you for covering up the vandalism and all this and that. Because I guess...
Thank you for vandalizing the vandalism.
Yeah. There was a lot of mean words and immature language and just...
Dicks.
Profanity. Yeah. Some dicks, Yeah. So I chose like the most chaotic spots to paint my pieces so I could like kind of bring it together a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so I would paint these pieces and post them online, and a lot of people were really, like, it seemed like a lot of people really had a personal connection to the water towers because of Saturday in the Park and all this and that. And I even got some attention from the local news, so I would, like, keep going up there to paint so that I could have something to be painting while they were up there interviewing me.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out, last Friday when we were up there was like the last day before they closed the gates on everybody. So I was like, wow, I'm so glad we spent the whole day up there filming and capturing photos and like finishing the piece that I was working on, because we might not get to go up there at all again anymore.
Right. So what's the story you're telling with the documentary?
Well, the history of the water towers and how they kind of play into being a Sioux City landmark, because I think if there wasn't graffiti on those water towers, it really wouldn't mean as much to people.
No, I don't think anybody would even notice that they were there.
Yeah, so
they would have probably planted a whole row of shrubs around it by now and just hidden them, but kind of left it as like a public art piece right in the middle of town. I love it. I
was trying to find out when the towers were built, and I just Googled it the other day, and it turns out they were built in like 1908 and 1914. And then I saw these pictures of the guys building them, like in progress. And I was like, wow, this is fascinating. And this is like a really cool old building that I'm painting on, or structure, I guess.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to like dive into the history and like how long it's been an important thing to Sioux City, even before like Saturday in the Park came about and everything like that.
Yeah. I mean, didn't Saturday in the Park come about in the 80s maybe?
I think it was the 90s.
The 90s? Okay. Yeah. I know Dave Bernstein was a young man when it was started, so yeah, whenever that was.
Mm-hmm. So like the more I looked into the history, the more interesting it became to me. And then I realized like we got probably the best photos and video that anyone's gotten this year of the water towers as they are like in their final form.
Right.
So with our little film, we're going to walk through the history of the water towers themselves, the history behind how it became a graffiti spot. And I think that had a lot to do with Paul Chelstad and Dave Bernstein, and those guys went to the city and made it or got it approved, basically.
Oh, so I didn't even realize. I thought it was just one of those deals where, cops were kind of like, all right, it's too far gone now. And the people in the city just took it as it's free and open game to be able to do graffiti up there. So it's interesting that it was always allowed.
Yeah. And I think that was like in the early 2000s. So I don't really remember then because I was a little kid. But they had a long tradition. Like every year before Saturday in the park, they would paint new pieces and they would clean it up to be presentable for the festival.
Yep. That's pretty crazy. That's a piece of Sioux City knowledge that I did not know, and that seems to be kind of rare on here. So I dig it. But I'd love to see when they finally cut into those things, how many feet of paint are on the outside.
Yeah.
I bet there's a significant amount of paint around the edges.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
We want to get footage of a wrecking ball going directly into my piece.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Yes. You gotta show up and coordinate with the wrecking crew.
We're going to stake it out.
First spot. I don't know what they told you, but it's going to be this guy right here.
Space Steve.
Yes. So I guess that's a good question is you do have like a thematic, a reoccurring character in your pieces and like reoccurring themes and all that. So what do you like to paint?
Well, it's actually kind of cool how it's all come together like in the past year. Because I've been an artist my whole life. I've been painting ever since like 2017 or so, like outside of high school. And I would always just mess around and like try a lot of different things. And then like in 2020, everything all kind of like came together into one style that seems like, oh, you can tell that's a Jessica Hammond piece because of the way the lines are and all that.
Yeah.
And this Space Steve character came out of that. And the reason why he's such a reoccurring character is because I heard that if you do something over and over and over and over and over again, you'll get really good at it. And it turns out that kind of happened. So.
I think that's a fair piece of advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know I bought a print from you in 2020. Was it the pandemic that allowed you to spend all the time painting, or was it just, a reignited interest in painting that lets you spend all of that time kind of refining your process and refining what you want to do?
It actually had a lot to do with the pandemic, kind of a silver lining, I guess, of such a horrible situation. Because I was working at Hardline Coffee like 3 days a week and doing art like whenever I could, but I was always like, oh my God, I just want to be making the art. Like, I don't have enough time to make all the art that I want because I'm always coming up with ideas. And I obviously have like other obligations and responsibilities in life. So like when my hours got cut at the coffee shop, it gave me all the time in the world to work on my art. And that was like something that I was really craving at the time. So it all kind of worked out well in that sense.
I like it. I found a lot of people have had a similar story as far as in 2020, it really separated the people who always just say that they're going to do something someday and the people who actually wanted to do something but just didn't have the time to do it before.
Yeah.
How many people do you know that really doubled down on what they're doing? Even for me at Honeywave, it allowed me to spend a lot more time making content around the business rather than always creating client content. And in 2019, I was on the road 2 to 3 days a week. So being able to be in Sioux City the whole time, just create content around Honeywave, and even just be able to sit and brainstorm and kind of come up with a plan for where I want things to go, really gave me a chance to stop feeling like I was just going 1,000 miles an hour all the time and had no time to think. So
yeah, I totally agree. It's like there's client work and then there's work that's like your own ideas, and like client work is awesome most of the time, but like if you get the time to work on an idea that is like your brainchild, like it's always more fulfilling.
Right. That's definitely the word for it, is fulfilling. So how did you get started in painting? And as an artist, you can choose a million different paths of how you want to express that creativity. But what was it about painting specifically that drew you to it?
Well, I didn't start painting until like after high school. Like I did a couple of high school art projects that were cool, but I was always into drawing like really geometric, really exact like patterns and stuff like that. And for the most part, even when I started doing my time-lapse videos, I was just like drawing and using Sharpies and markers. And I hate markers. And I was like, I just kept trying. And then like, I always hated the outcome. I was like, man, I should have just left that outlined because this sucks now. But then one day I was hanging out with my friend Anna Hart, and she was painting. Like, I just went over to her house and we were hanging out in her backyard, and she let me use her paints. And ever since then, I started buying a couple of my own paints, and then I started buying all the other stuff. And I guess painting just gives you a lot of flexibility with what you can do compared to like markers.
There's always the chance for a cover up when you're painting.
That's a beautiful thing about painting too. Like, if you mess up, just paint over it.
Yep. You like my mural?
I love it.
Yeah, I'm Banksy. Yeah, that's funny. It's really interesting to see how many people, that's basically what I bring people on here, is people who found their passion, right? And like are doubling down, tripling down on that, and then being able to convey that to everybody listening, how to pursue your passion and how to create a system or how to create a world in which you are doing your passion, whether it be full-time, part-time, or just like doing it to the best of your ability. And how many people didn't know what they wanted to do until they were in their mid-20s or, after high school. It's very rare that people are 14 years old and like, yeah, I want to do this for the rest of my life. So I almost feel like when I hear somebody who's young say that, I want to go, hey, I get it, but keep all of your passions open right now. Don't triple down on one thing. I mean, maybe you can and you'll end up as Justin Bieber of painting or whatever, but it's so important to be able to keep all of your creative avenues open and still continue to explore what you like, because it sounds like it was very recent that you really picked up the painting. I mean, I don't know how old you are or whatever, but.
Well, I went to school for audio engineering because like at that time I was super focused on music, and live music was like my chosen avenue of audio. But so I think like having a multitude of different creative outlets can really be beneficial too, because every different thing you do can kind of represent a different part of you and can kind of be like a different outlet for different emotions. Yeah.
So I guess tell me about the music. Are you still doing music? You playing with a band currently?
Yeah, I'm playing in a band called Fall of Kings. I'm also in a band called Brainwreck, but ever since the pandemic, we haven't gotten together.
Yeah, it's been a pretty slow time for live music, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I guess if you had to go over and do it again, would you have started painting in high school, or, I guess, would you have rather discovered painting very early on, or do you think that all of the things you learned up until the start of when you, started painting was crucial in your growth as a painter?
I definitely think I wouldn't change anything, just because through the music side of what I do, I've met so many people, and I've gotten opportunities through the people I've met, and a lot of it had to do with like running sound for local bands and like just always making connections with people. And another thing, I think, like, you can be an artist, but if you don't have anything interesting to paint, or if you're not actually interested in like other things, then like maybe your art's just gonna be like a photo representation of
it's all gonna be hotel art at that point.
So I think like me diving into different avenues of creativity all relates back to my artwork.
That's dope. I like it. So where can people find some of your murals at?
Well, I've got a few of them downtown. There are 2 murals of mine in the Alley Art Alley, which is between 4th Street, 5th Street, Pierce Street, and Nebraska Street. I highly recommend everybody check that out if they haven't, because there's like 50 murals in there.
The Alley Art Festival is crazy good.
Yeah.
One thing that we do need is better lighting on said murals.
Yes.
Yes, because that time, depending on the time of day, you might have to maneuver around a few people peeing on the wall and whatnot, what have you. At least a couple pukers back there. But I mean, the art that's back there is crazy solid. I think that a good question and something that I like to explore a lot when I'm having guests on here is that when I grew up, you know, I grew up in Sergeant Bluff. You grew up in Sioux City, and I never knew how to turn the passions that I had and the things I wanted to do into actual opportunities in Sioux City. I never saw an avenue for that. So how did you go from, you know, figuring out that you like to paint to then painting full on murals? What, I guess, like, who did you talk to? How did you make that happen?
Well, it all started out with me and my same friend, Anna Hart. It was like, I think 2018 maybe, where we were like, yeah, we're going to make prints and we're going to make an Etsy page and we're going to start selling our art. And then that summer we did like a couple of different art vendor events, like Brewfest and stuff like that. So that was like really the first time I sold art.
You making money off that Etsy page?
No, I actually ended up deleting it like this year. But so that was like the first art I sold, because before that people would be like, oh, I really like that drawing, and I'd be like, you can have it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But so her and I together started figuring out how we can like reproduce our art professionally and make it available. Mm-hmm. The murals came about the first Alley Art Festival in 2019. Brent from Vanguard Arts just reached out to me and was like, hey, do you want to be a part of this festival? And I was like, I've never heard of it, but sure, sign me up. And I got Anna on board to collaborate on a mural with me because I was like, I've never done this before.
Right.
Gonna need help.
Where can we find Anna's artwork at? You've been saying her name a lot.
Yeah, her name is Kitty Kitty Bang Bang. It's like on Instagram, kitty.kittybang.bang.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She's awesome. So we did our first mural together in the Alley Art Festival. And then after that, it wasn't until it was, I think, May of 2020 when I got asked to do the Pride Wings mural. And that was really random. It was like someone recommended me, one of my friends, like they reached out to her to do it and she didn't want to. So she recommended me and I was like, sure, I got nothing else going on.
Yeah.
And then like ever since then, it's been nonstop. People have been asking me. I've had like a list. Mm-hmm. So really, I didn't like seek this path out. It kind of found me.
Okay. So I'll give a little bit of a, on the other side of things, the person who I've hired a bunch of people who probably thought that I just found them out of the blue, right? Mm-hmm. But I'll say that the biggest difference between you who's doing murals and you want to do murals and you do more murals, and the person who wants to do murals but has never found a mural to do and nobody gets in contact with them is that they've never just done one, right? They never entered the Alley Art competition. Or is it even a competition or is it just a showcase?
There's prizes, but really it's just
So the Alley Art, the Alley Art organization, they've never taken the time to actually paint a mural on something. Or if they have, they never really showed off what they did. So it's just a matter of doing it and letting the world know that you do it. People come to me all the time. They say, how do I make videos? How do I become a director? I'm like, show me the videos you made so far. You know, they always say, I'm so passionate about videos and creating videos. And I say, all right, show me what you got so far. And then they go, well, I don't have anything because I don't have a nice camera. And it's like, no. Use your phone. When I started making videos, I had to borrow my mom's mini DV camera because it was pre-SD cards. And, you had to use FireWire to get into a computer, but I was still making a video every week just because I wanted to make videos that bad. And I think that that's really what it takes, is just to do it and let the world know that you're doing it.
I completely agree. Because like it all just started with me posting my art online just because I felt like I wanted to. And then like ever since then, like it's been nonstop.
Yeah.
Ever since I've been consistently putting myself out there. And especially lately, one piece of advice I've heard was like, if you say something out loud and you keep saying it out loud and you really want it and you keep talking about it, keep telling it to everybody, keep saying it out loud, it will happen. So
right.
Like if somebody is interested in learning how to do murals and they don't have the space, the money, like start out by just draw all the time, post your artwork, Eventually you can get a big piece of plywood in your backyard and you can practice on that if you want. Mm-hmm. You can take it and show somebody with a wall and be like, hey, check out, I'm trying to learn how to do this. Do you mind if I,
do it at your place? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, there's so many people in Sioux City who are hungry for a painting or a mural, on their business. We're literally sitting inside of a building right now that the owners are looking for like a giant mural to put on the outside. So there's no shortage of places to paint in Sioux City. And yeah, I love what you're saying about the just say it and keep saying it and say it out loud. I just had Psychedelic Sidekick on a couple weeks ago, and me and him were both talking about how I was at the time when, the Power of Manifestation or The Secret, whatever that book was, got really big, and all the stoners were like, all I got to do is just believe it, and then it'll come. I have to believe with all my, and I'm like, yeah, there's a difference between saying it and saying that you want a car or, a Lamborghini in your garage, and then one's not going to appear. You can say it, but you got to say it while you're doing it. You have to do all of the things, and you have to make the world know what your intentions are. Like, I'm going to be a muralist. I can sit on my couch and smoke pot all day and say that, and it's never going to happen. But if I say I'm going to be a muralist while I'm painting on the 16 by 20 canvas that I went and picked up a 5-pack for $12.99 on sale right now at Hobby Lobby, then it's step one in an actual process. It's not just saying it, because saying it isn't step one. Saying it is, okay,
right.
Now what, right?
That's what I tell all of these artists, like all of the younger artists that ask me, like, if you just keep consistently making art and putting it out there, people will notice. Maybe you're not getting a bunch of likes on your photos right now, but in 2 years from now, you're going to look back on your art. You're going to feel like you're a lot better, and you're going to be getting more attention for it just by consistently putting it out there. And another thing that goes along with that, like myself, I'm lining up a lot of big mural jobs, and I'm going to need help. And the first people I'm going to reach out to help me are the people I see making artwork all the time. Because I know if you're just doing it because you love it, then you'll be thrilled to be on a big project, Yeah.
Literally earlier today, we had a kid in here who's a young hustler with a video camera who originally got in touch with me and was asking about a job, but I was like, I don't, have any openings for jobs right now. But I said, I'd love to help you build your portfolio. I took a look at his portfolio. I said, it's not quite where it's hireable for me yet. But if you're passionate about it, like, come in. You can come in, sit at this desk right here. There's no, you don't have to be for any hours. You don't have to work on my projects for me, but I'll give you projects to do if you want to build that portfolio. So that's kind of what we've been doing. And he'll come in once or twice a week and sit down for a couple hours. And just the difference in saying that he wanted to do it and that he, that's the first step, right? Second step, he came to me and he's like, I have a camera. I have all of this is what I want to do as a career. And then I'm like, cool. Are you willing to do the works part? And then it just like immediately he started doing the work. And, I was just talking to him today, like, hey man, as soon as I get money in the budget, or, if I can find an opportunity for you somewhere else, then I'm going to get you lined up with a job. But none of that would happen if he wasn't doing everything that he's doing right now. And I guarantee you, somebody with a camera sitting at their house right now in Sioux City who might have watched 1,000 YouTube videos on how to make good videos, right? And he or she might have all of the skill and intellect of it, but if they're not doing it, it's going to go nowhere when it comes to time to find that job. So in your situation where you're looking for that person who's actively been doing what they say they want to do, they're going to be first crack at the opportunity. And if you're not doing it, then you're not going to have any opportunities.
Right. And another thing that is really cool about creating stuff, whether it's artwork or videos or music or anything, it's like a record from the past. So
right.
Like if you go watch the videos you made 5 years ago, you're gonna be like, oh my god, what was I thinking? Like,
shit, I got videos on YouTube
I've
from 12 years ago.
Well. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that is true. Like it's kind of a time capsule of how bad you used to be at things.
Yeah, or just like every time, like Inktober, for example, it's like a month-long drawing challenge where you draw a new thing every day. And I've been doing it for the past 3 years. So when I'm in the middle of Inktober and all of my memories on Facebook pop up from the last 2 years that I did it, I'm like, wow, there's a step of improvement in every year. And that's really cool to see.
I think a lot of people let fear of criticism, fear of judgment, stop them from doing it as well. And like, I had videos on YouTube when I was in high school that I definitely got made fun of for. It's cool. I had like teachers make fun of me for videos. So it was no holes were barred. It was pre anti-bullying campaigns. And, just kept doing it. And how many people let that, let the fear of judgment stop them is kind of heartbreaking. Or even letting perfect get in the way of good enough.
Right.
Like I could bring up every video I've ever done. I could show you the viral videos I've made and tell you everything I would change about that video. Tell you what I think was shitty in it, like where the color looks bad to me, this and that. And none of it really matters to the end audience, right?
Right.
Unless if it's good enough, it's good enough.
Especially when you think about it, like nobody else will ever scrutinize your artwork as much as you yourself do.
Yeah.
So like I could notice 10 flaws in something I made, but people still love it. Like
Right. And I here's a good example. I just kind of went viral in Sioux City last week with that Sioux City unofficial tourism video, which is a joke. And if you guys don't realize that I've made like 35 episodes of the Sioux City Show all out of my own pocket, promoting all of the cool things in Sioux City and why I love it so much, and you think that I actually hate Sioux City because of that video, you're a dummy. But I made that, and I honestly sat on it for like a month because I didn't like the beginning of it. And I wanted to reshoot it. And then finally one day I was like, I'm not going to reshoot it, so I might as well just put it out. Mm-hmm. And then I put it out and instantly blows up. So I was like, it's just proof of how stupid I am, really. But also proof of I was letting good enough get in the way. I was letting perfect get in the way of good enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've heard like the 70% rule. Like make it 70% good.
Yeah.
At least,
That's true. Yeah, that's what you need is like really, especially in the age of online content, there's a barrier of pretty cool is what you're getting over. You're not, the Mona Lisa wouldn't get that many hearts on Instagram in 2021. I think that's just the fact of the matter at this point.
Yeah.
So finding a way to make your noise a little bit in the digital space and make what you're trying to do known is the biggest key to anything, rather than having that one perfect piece of art that you can show off.
Right, because if you can only produce one absolutely perfect thing a year, then
you're not getting hired.
Yeah.
Then you're just that person that every December posts a really cool photo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess, can you talk about any of the like future murals that you have lined up, or anything that you're excited to do, or a building that you really want to put a mural on?
Well, I just submitted my application for the West 7th mural project.
Oh, is this the one right down here on Bluff Street in West 7th?
Yeah. And I did that one like super last minute, but I hope they like it. I think it's really cool what they're doing with West 7th Street and trying to put up a bunch of murals, because that's cool.
They should. Yeah. There's plenty of buildings that are perfect for it along West 7th, so they might as well. And if, grants and private funding can come in and take care of it, then it should alleviate the onus of the business owner to be able to pay for the whole thing on the side of their building.
Yeah.
And don't ask artists to do it for free.
No.
For the love of God.
It's a lot of work doing a mural. Like you're out there for 10, 12 hours every day, climbing up ladders, like unloading your truck, loading everything back up. Like it's hard work.
As a muralist myself, I couldn't agree more.
But one wall that I've had my eye on for like all year is that wall on the side of Creative Entertainment. It's like on Floyd Boulevard, where you're always stopped at that light for like 2.5 minutes every single time.
Yep.
I think, there's a big open wall there. Like you give some people some stuff to look at.
You might as well. If you don't have any connections there, I think I could probably get you a connection there.
I think I know a guy.
Yeah. Okay. Good. That's awesome though. I think that anybody in Sioux City would agree that, there's plenty of room for, beautification. Mm-hmm. Who was it? Ron, it was like Ron Muralist or something like that. The guy who did the giant buffalo one.
Oh,
down on 5th Street.
I don't know of him.
He was from Argentina. Yeah. But that one's sick. And like, I think that there's plenty, there's an argument for that too. Like bringing in like these, celebrity muralists or, the top tier
Right.
$100,000 muralists, and put those on some of the, think of it, rather than putting up a big monument or a statue sometimes in Sioux City, maybe we could cover up a huge building with a pretty sweet piece of art.
Right. I think it would be really cool to like work with someone like that. Like I would love to like just be an apprentice, just be there and just learn from them. Like I want to gather all of the knowledge I can from people that I look up to. So like some people might hate on like bringing out of town people in to do murals, but
who cares?
Me as someone who does this, I would like to learn from people like that who have done a lot.
Right. And then every once in a while, man, as much as I'm advocating that we should put murals on everything, I don't know if you've seen that mural that's on, is it 3rd Street at the corner of 3rd and Wesley Parkway on the...
Oh, the Iowa.
It's like the state of Iowa.
Yeah.
And it's like, what version of the state of Iowa outline is that? Because that is not the shape of Iowa that I've ever seen before in my life. And that's a question, or that's an example of very questionable mural work.
Yeah.
Was that you?
No. Nope.
Would you tell me?
No, it wasn't
Okay.
me. I think that was actually like a project that the high schoolers did or something like that. I don't
Seems about
really
like
know,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, everybody's favorite mural by bureaucrats, the old home of Sioux City Sioux, the thing that I don't know of anybody in Sioux City who's ever been like, hey, a real source of pride for me in my community is that a song by Gene Autry in the 50s mentioned our city. I think more people are excited about it's one of the places that Johnny Cash has been when he claims that he's been everywhere. But other than that, I don't really think that they were winning any big design and creativity awards when they painted that mural.
Right. I'm curious. Like, I just want to play that line of notes just to see what it sounds like because there's a lot of 16th notes in there, and I think it would sound really odd.
And if you're listening to this and you're wondering what she's talking about, when they painted the mural, rather than pay for the licensing of the actual notes of the music, they just made up their own so they didn't have to pay the licensing fees.
It's like they didn't even consult anyone who knows how to read sheet music.
Yeah, at least get in the ballpark of it, right?
Yeah.
Paint up some Johnny Cash lyrics or Johnny Cash knows or something. But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting where I'll say like Sioux City, one of the big advantages to living and working in Sioux City is that people are so willing to help. It's I don't know of that many cities in which somebody who goes from thinking like, oh, I want to try and get into painting, I want to try doing murals, can then be like doing murals pretty regularly within 2 years, 3 years. And not only that, but then have like murals lined up for the future. So I think that it's like very much a testament to Sioux City and how willing and open we are to building a creative culture here, that like new artists, new videographers, new musicians always have an opportunity here.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like in Sioux City, if you know the right people, you can make anything happen.
Yeah.
And like, because for a while I was like running sound and like helping promote shows all the time. Even if it wasn't my band playing, I would be there running sound. I would be there helping with aorta music and management. Like we ran shows, like we from start to finish, like we know how to put on a show. And then like ever since this year, I've kind of been thinking of like, how can you incorporate art into events like that? And the more I think about it, the more I think I can throw any event I want in Sioux City because I know the right people.
Yeah. And then like even a caveat to like knowing the right people is that the right people aren't shielded. You don't have to go through somebody's manager to get to the right person. You don't have to go through their secretary and all that. It's literally find them on Facebook and send them a message.
Right.
And more often than not, they're like, yes, let me help. Or even if they're not really into it, they're like, let me point you in the direction of what you need to do.
Right. A lot of the time, the dude getting you a beer at the bar is the same dude who booked the whole show and is looking for something to do next month.
Are we talking about Mitch Martin?
Well, Mitch, Brent Stockton is another one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's, I was just talking to Psychedelic Sidekick the other day, and this wasn't even on the podcast, but it's crazy living in Sioux City. And, I said, if I was 19 years old, right out of high school, and I decided I want to be a musician, I want to be a rapper, how accessible it is to get to the top tier talent in our city, like the most known rappers and you could be on a show in the next month if you did all of the work on the back end and created a mixtape for yourself. Like instantly people would be like, love it. You know, try that in Chicago. Try that anywhere else. It's not going to happen. But in Sioux City, we're small enough that we have that accessibility, but also large enough that we have top tier talent.
Right. You can be the opener on a show 1 month and 2 months later you're headlining your own show and you're picking the lineup and all that. Like,
right.
If you can prove that what you're doing is cool and you really care about it, like it really doesn't take a lot to like step it up from there, you know?
Yeah. And there's going to be people that are willing to help you do that, whether it's your friends from high school or it's the random people that you're meeting for the first time through Facebook. You're going to be able to find support for what you're doing here.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess a portion of my show that I always like to ask people is there anything in Sioux City that you think that everybody should know about that they currently don't?
I think Vanguard Arts. The Vanguard Arts and Downtown Partners are the ones who put on the Alley Art Festival. But Vanguard Arts is also just a small music venue. It's on Pierce Street. Pierce
Street right down by the old Sportsman's, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they're the only venue in town right now doing open mic nights, and they do that every Thursday. And so, like, if you're a musician that's interested in getting to know the music community, all you have to do is show up on Thursday to an open mic night, and you'll probably get on. You'll be the opener of a show down the line.
Love it. Yeah. So, and let me put into something there too. I hate motivational speeches. I hate like motivational gurus or whatever. But it's truly just a matter of doing it. It's truly just show up to this open mic. Every bone in your body right now is saying like, oh, I don't want to go to the open mic thing. It's not right. I'm not good enough, yada, yada, yada. Every single person who did an open mic night for the first time thought the same things. And if they didn't think those same things, they were delusional. And those were the worst. So, like just get out and do it. And in Sioux City, there's not the worst case scenario is not very bad in Sioux City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's plenty of opportunities for new people to get their foot in the door, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Unless you're a videographer, then stay your ass at home and don't compete with me. Everybody. Just like, but yeah, it's there's nothing but opportunity. And I should do my most slept on in Sioux City. Oh God damn it, I don't really have anything. I don't know if I've said it before on the program or not, but La Victoria on 26th and Myrtle is one of the most bomb places in Sioux City to buy produce. And here, let me throw a quick shout out. Actually, another similar space is Hong Kong Market. If you need any hard to find fruits, vegetables, if you want to support local businesses, local families with your shopping dollars, then Hong Kong Market on West 7th Street is the place to do it. They're a nice, like, it's not even, you don't have to, if you go to La Victoria, there's going to be some things that they couldn't fit inside of the shop, right? That you might be able to find at Hy-Vee. At Hong Kong Market, they're a very large space, so there's plenty of things that you can't find at Hy-Vee that are in there, so highly recommend it.
I agree.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to give a shout out to or anything you want to plug before we call it a day?
I can't think of anything.
All right. Well, until next time, you can find all of our merch, all of our, hoodies like this one right here is available at honeywavemedia.com/merch. For every dollar that we profit, I profit $1. So I can't recommend it enough. It goes to a very good cause, which is my family's Christmas presents, and they're hurting. So until next time, this is the Sioux City Show. I'm Taylor Grote. Thanks so much.